Objection! Your benevolence. Isn't this statement inconsistent with the vision? Inconsistent? I think not. Exactly! That's where the inconsistency lies. No, I believe it is in the defense's thought process that the inconsistency lies. Well, at least okay. But at least I guess he's going to tell us now. Whether I had the right bit of insight or whatever. Yes, there was an inconsistency there after all. Oh, never mind. No, he doesn't. I guess that was only for the first case. Unless that was his way of telling me I was wrong on the insight and the sensation. That is funny, though, because that Springside lantern is not broken. And we can very clearly see it. This one is cracked and all. I don't really see how I'm wrong about that, but nevertheless. Let's look for something else, I guess. Unless I just put it at the wrong time or something stupid like that. Oh! It changed. The one on the right isn't broken anymore. Oh, that's interesting. Well, now that we can see that, that's clearly something weird, but I don't know what to put on that. Do I put this one? Because I think the thing that I poked earlier, saying, well, this one's clearly broken. But that is certainly interesting that we've noticed this already. We noticed that I've noticed this all of a sudden that this lantern is entirely intact. So it's like when he puts up the sutra and then puts it down, he like also turns around. Meaning Maya's still behind him at this point, unconscious, and then now he's looking back towards the entrance or something, and he sees Lady Hira standing there. But I've got not a clue what to actually push on here. Because I guess, well, it doesn't contradict this insight, I suppose. Oh, hang on. Is there anything where she specifically says Maya was stating it before him, I guess? Maybe I could say it wasn't the transformation right because we're clearly not at that point. Oh. Like, I know what's wrong here, I think, which is that, you know, we see the broken lantern here, and then he puts up the sutra so much that it clouds the whole vision, and when he puts it down, the lantern is fixed, meaning probably that we turned around while he was reading. But none of these words really say that. Like, there's no one statement here that's like, where I can say, well, he turned around, and so this isn't Maya. Even though that's the problem with this. I'm wondering if the point is that this was not the transformation, right? But that it does fit more or less with everything. Well, except for the fact that we've imagined it isn't Maya because he turns around to see this other person. So the priestess is not donning the robe of Lady Kira, but that's squishy. Well, I suppose we could say the Rite of Water is what's kind of where this is sort of headed. Given she's entering the spring dressed as Lady Kira, whoever they're wearing the robe. But I foresee myself losing all the health here, because I don't know how to say that. Okay, well, let me just start from the very beginning with the first, just with each insight, go through and see if anything sticks out. The victim commenced the purification rite by bowing to the lanterns and reading a sutra. We are bowing to the lights here, the lanterns, but we don't. I guess we could argue that maybe this isn't it commencing. If, well, no, I guess none of the visuals really indicate that. So trying it on the next one now. As the first part of the transformation rite ended, he lowered the sutra. Suddenly... I'm not sure how much more I'm going to learn from just watching it over and over again, because I think I've found the point that they're trying to get me to find, which is that the statue changes from broken to not broken, implying either that it was moved in that very short time, or, well... Sorry, I'm forgetting. Where is it they think that Maya is? I guess I should try and remember that. So they're saying that Maya at this point is in the spring. Which is why I went, oh, let's pick the lantern on the right, because clearly because it's broken, that means we're actually facing this way. Game said, no, that's wrong. So I'm befuddled. Unless they want me to push on the fixed one. But I don't see how that doesn't prove that he didn't rush the accused and try to fight her off by the Springside Lantern. If anything, that proves that he went towards the Springside Lantern. So that this is correct. The broken one is what's unusual about that, because it implies that it wasn't the accused, because Maya was over behind him. And, you know, he would have heard her footsteps if she walked all the way around him to get to the other side. I'm a little worried that maybe this is one of those things where I wasn't supposed to notice this yet, but that seems wrong, because they specifically had the lanterns blurred out before, and now brought them into focus. So, all of a sudden, I feel like I'm supposed to be noticing the disparity between the broken one and the fixed one. I don't know what point says what I'm thinking, which is that he turned around while putting the suture up, and Maya's still behind him while he's facing Lady Kira. Where's the button that says all that? I mean, I could just try pushing on everything, but I don't want to lose that much health for something so stupid. I could just hit autoplay as well and have it solve it for me, but then if it turns out that I made the wrong solve, then I'll spoil what the actual solve is. That's the anxiety here, is that I'm pretty sure I know what's wrong. But I can't be sure until the game tells me I'm right, basically. So until that point, there's still the possibility that there's another thing I'm supposed to notice here that I'm not. It's not like I did it too early or on the wrong inside or something, did I? Is it? I did this one when I hit the broken one, right? Maybe I'm too focused on the lantern and everything. Let me try and focus on other details in this picture. Curtains and stuff. Like, can you see the moon in the background at some point or something that would let us know which way is west? Maybe? Because you should be able to see it when you look this way, shouldn't you? Towards this lantern. The moon. That's funny. Do we not have meteorologists in Quran who could tell which way the wind was supposed to be blowing? I think I'm at a loss here. There's a slim possibility that I'm supposed to say, just point at this lantern here. Because it's different from the one we saw a moment ago. So if nothing else, we would say, well, that calls into question whether this was the Springside lantern or not. But it's pretty flimsy. Well, it's not, because the end point that I'm getting at is not flimsy. I think it's pretty clear that something's up with the fact that it goes from broken to fixed. But I'm like I said, I'm struggling to find out to see just which combination of insight plus sensation discounts that. Or I hope it wasn't simply a matter of it thought I was pressing on the finger. But of course, if I try it again, it's losing more health. And then if it later on turns out that it's a different solve, then I lost like 3 health on it. Then I'll have lost 2 health on this on a dumb fantasy of mine. This is the only thing I can think of that is like a direct contradiction between the two. He rushed the accused and tried to fight her off by the Springside lantern. This is not a Springside lantern, because this is the broken one by the other way. Trouble is that that doesn't happen when he actually does the rushing. When he does the rushing, it is the Springside one, but her footsteps were... I'm now a little lost, because I don't know... Are they supposing that Maya started out over here and then circled around him? Or are they saying, throughout this entire vision, Maya is here and just puts on the robe? Because if that's the case, then my Broken Lantern contradiction would have worked. Because clearly she wasn't in the spring at that point. And he turned around to look at the spring, which is my prevailing theory. I have a bad feeling this is not one of those things where, to me, that's the most obvious way to prove this, but they're going down like the list of different ways that it can be proved, and to them, one of the other ones makes more sense. And Phoenix did specifically say before this, I need to find some way that puts into question where they were standing. So that, to me, the lanterns are like the landmark to do that. So I feel like I can't be on the wrong solve. Just it's not something stupid like I was supposed to wait for him to put his hand down, is it? Screw it, I'm gonna try it again.
Objection!
No, that wasn't it. Okay. So I'm on the wrong track, I guess. Oh, well. I guess I'll try pushing on the lantern that's there after he puts the suture down. Like, maybe what they're trying to get at is that everyone else is eagle-eyed enough to see that it's changed.
Objection!
Nope, it's not that either. I've got nothing then, so I guess I'm on the entirely wrong track. Shame to lose 3 health for that. Alright, let me think it through again then, from the top. This is the other thing that's confusing, is because we're saying he's ending the transformation right, but if we were ending the transformation right, she wouldn't be in the spring yet. So not only does what I'm seeing contradict what she's saying, but the insight contradicts the next insight as well. He's saying, we ended the transformation right where she isn't in the spring, and then he ran into the spring to get her, which doesn't make any sense, obviously. But obviously I can't put the insights against themselves, because I think they were just saying, they did it wrong, that's weird. I think that's where they left that earlier. So they're saying they did the transformation right just in the spring, which is obviously untrue because of the broken lantern, which was my first. That's why I put that there first. Oh, unless I'm supposed to put the lantern, but just on the transformation right bit, because clearly this isn't the transformation right if we're assuming she's in the spring already. But the lantern doesn't prove that. The lantern proves that she wasn't in the spring, which implies this was the end of the transformation right. So it's this one that's wrong, but I already tried it. I guess we also don't see the curtain in the background here. Is that the idea? which is yet further proof that he turned around. And that she actually is standing in the right place. But these are theories I have, none of which pertain in the slightest, faintest bit to what we're reading here. Well, not this, they don't directly, anyway. Funny also that the guidebook does not mention the purification rite beginning with the bowing and the reading of the sutra. I guess are they trying to get us to say that you can't see the moon? But we don't know that he's looking far enough for that you would be able to. At least I can pretty safely discount these last two. They don't really say much. He felt pain. I believe he was stabbed then. Yeah. Real Sherlock Holmes over here. As a slight blood spilled over, his vision dimmed and finally passed from our world. That is what we see. So it's one of these first three. I have nothing here. But like the last thing that changed was they brought the lanterns into focus. So it has to be that I have to put the broken versus the fixed lanterns somehow. But I've tried it on every point, right? Or I didn't. I tried it on the. I tried it on. I tried it on this one before and after. I guess that's basically all I did. I don't see how it pertains to the other points. But to me, I mean, it's weird because and we've been here before. This is what happened with the stage lift. They're presenting something to me that so is screaming in my face. This is the logical twist that's happening here. But much like we had in the case 2, now I'm completely doubting myself and wondering if there's some reason why it makes total sense that the lantern suddenly gets fixed. That isn't that he turns around, or that the lantern moves. And I'm supposed to know that, and I don't. The water being already stained red is a non-issue at the moment. I shouldn't really even be looking at the evidence too much because that's not what we're not presenting any. Like, I guess it can inform us somewhat, but I must be missing some visual, something that like a hint of the moon that you see or something. I must be visually missing something because with the evidence we have right now, it makes perfect sense exactly what my contradiction is. It has failed to work 3 times in a row. So there must be something like genuinely something incredibly incriminating and obvious, like that's a visual thing in like the corner of one of these shots or something. Like, there's something wrong with Lady Kira's outfit that I'm not noticing, or... But it looks like it has the mark, it looks like it's smirking, it looks like it's got the 3 plumes, it looks like it's got the dagger. All that matches with the design we see in this photograph. They don't want me to say something about the fact that the incense goes away before the pain, right? Because I don't think that makes sense. Is my brightness too low on my monitor? Like, is there something I'm supposed to see in the background? God, now it hurts my eyes. Interesting also that we don't see those banners draped over the curtain here. I also don't really understand what they mean by the Springside Lantern if he charged into the center of the spring. No person would ever describe being in the center of the spring as by this lantern. So it's weird that they're saying it that way, but I don't know if that's just them being weird or if it means something. Because there's no lantern in sight when he rushes her. I also feel like the wind has to have something to do with the smelling of the incense at some point. The direction of the wind will play a part, but it doesn't matter here because the wind starts and then disappears. So he would be able to smell the incense if the wind was gone now. So this is the point at which it changes to water, so we're entering the spring one way or the other. And their assumption is that this is Maya in the spring, standing still with a dagger held out. She teleported around his back without making any noise because that is logic. And he ran at her with his hands outstretched into the water. And then she gutted him right then and there. And he doesn't hear the water anymore. We stop smelling the incense, and then we stop feeling pain because we are dead. This game has Mario confused. You got Mario confused. I've been sitting here for like a half hour. I'm so dead for the rest of this case. I don't know if the flickering sensations, that's just how they show up, but these two both do that. And I feel like the other ones didn't. Hang on 2 seconds. I gotta stop the recording and just see what they said. Because the history button is gone for this portion. My god, it's worse than I thought. I've been here for like 45 minutes. Alright, here we go. I found it. Sorry, you'll get video back in a sec. Just 2 seconds. Huh? That lantern doesn't have a wind guard on it. When we searched the crime scene, those lanterns had wind guards on. That's because the police put them back on. The sacred flames have burned uninterrupted for hundreds of years. Defense. We could not risk them being extinguished even during an investigation. That would never fly back home. Well, Barbed Head, are you done quibbling? If so, then it is time to bow down before this testimony of the Midama. Arg. Nick, don't worry, Maya. I'm just getting started. Alright, let's go over everything we know so far. Maya was wearing Lady Kira's robes and standing in the spring. The High Priest is thought to have been moving toward her, so I should look for sensations that stand in contradiction to this arrangement. I won't give up. I'm going to find a contradiction that will undermine the accusation. Okay. I skipped that one really fast. The weird thing is she never says Maya was in the spring. Sorry, let me record again. Second sync. There. She never says Maya was in the spring. She says he rushed the accused and tried to fight her off by the Springside Lantern, which is the closest thing to saying that. Which, once again, is why I assume that I can put the broken lantern here, even though apparently I can't. Hang on. So they're saying they removed the wind guards from all the lanterns, right? So it's not that they want me to put it on the fire flickering. Because they expect that to happen. Although I don't really understand how they expect to keep these flames burning forever if they take the wind guards off on a windy night. I don't know why I feel like I'm missing something right here with this picture. Well, let me go to the bit where he actually starts running towards her, quote unquote, because this is the part that Phoenix just said we have to find a way to contradict this. Basically, the arrangement of him facing her in the spring and then him running towards her. It makes it sound like we're trying to look right at this last bit right now. Is there something we should see when he runs into the water that we don't? And is there something that we shouldn't see if he's in the water that we do? Well, shouldn't see here or whatever. Or if I think about this another way, my other theory was that... Oh, well, no, I guess this makes... this. Maybe I'm thinking too far ahead now, but if the Broken Lantern had been originally by the spring, it means Maya was standing in the spring and this person is not. In which case... he stumbled backwards into the water away from her. Which is a thing that makes sense, but we don't have evidence that the lantern was moved. That's a far-fetched theory of mine. So assuming the lantern was not moved, we are looking at the spring now, and we were looking at the entrance a moment ago. And that does mean he's running forward. Because the sound of water doesn't splash closer, so it's not like she's running out of the spring at him. The water sound is the same as if it's coming from him. Right, because what I have to operate under their assumption for now, which is that Maya's in the spring right now. We are looking at the spring. I keep coming back to this lantern, because we shouldn't see this if we're looking at the spring. Which is what they're saying, and I feel like I've said that 3 times and had it not work. But that's the only contradiction I can really summon. But I have to be wrong. So, if it's not that... Is there anything about Maya's appearance here that would indicate that she's not in the spring? Because we can't see her. Obviously, they're not showing us her below her knees, because then we would be able to know if she was standing in the water or not. How's that for keyframing? Now, there was a very brief moment there where it looked like you could see the bottom of her clothing and she was not standing in the spring, which makes sense with where the broken lantern is there. But so there's no frame-by-frame option in this mode, which tells me that they're not expecting us to go frame-by-frame quite like that. Like Phoenix was saying, what we're trying to discredit here is what the positioning, and this is the only one that references even slightly where they were, either of them was standing. The victim commits the purification rite by bowing to the lanterns and reading a sutra. We see that. It doesn't tell us which lanterns, where they were standing. As the first part of the transformation rite ended, he lowered the sutra. That should tell us where they're standing, except we said earlier, who cares, they did it wrong. He brushed the accused and tried to fight her off by the springside lantern. Is the only statement we have that implies this positioning of he was standing outside of the spring and rushed her at the spring. Of course, by the springside lantern are words that ultimately are meaningless here, but it's the closest thing we have to anything that says she was in the spring, he ran towards her in the spring. So it has to be this third point here, because the next one is just he felt pain. I reckon that's when he got stabbed, and then he died. So it has to be this point. And by the way it's framed, I assume we're just saying we can't see the curtain door because it's too dark back there. And fair play, we can't even see the bird statue when they're this close to the lanterns, and these lanterns are farther away from where the door would be. So sure, I buy that it's too dark to see the door from here. Oh, I guess maybe are we saying that Lady Kira is in the staging? No, she's definitely in between the two torches, right? Or do we only see the one? Or lantern, see what I mean? Because we see this one, then we turn and it's like, oh, hello there. And it's sort of, we assume that because the lantern's just off screen to the right here, that the other one is just off screen to the left, such that she's in the very center. But I guess that's not proven, and that might explain why they're phrasing it like by the springside lantern. They're saying we were closer to the one on the right. But she's still in the water, right? Because otherwise we would never have, or so we're claiming, otherwise we would never have claimed that when he ran towards her, suddenly we started hearing splashing. No, wait. Well, we reckon she's in the center because that's what the diagram shows. As in that's what they are believing right now. I don't know how I'm going to cut this video down. I'm so sorry. Just pretend this moved a lot faster and more smoothly than it actually is. I'm not just supposed to say that she's not next to the lantern, right? Because they're phrasing it weirdly there, but what they said in the diagram is that she's standing in the center of the spring, not out here by the lantern. So I'm assuming that the insight here is just stupid phrasing, and it's not actually they're saying that she wasn't in the water. And I'm supposed to prove it by being like, well, listen, there's water. What they just changed about it was the lanterns coming into focus. So I don't get why I can't pick them. In fact, that was all that changed. The insight didn't even get revised, and none of the sensations changed. Well, I mean, that's a sensation in sight, but none of the text described sensations changed. Literally, the only thing that has changed since the last one is that these lanterns are now visible to us more clearly. So I can only imagine that the only thing we're supposed to take from that is that this one goes from broken to fixed, i.e. he turned around and was not initially facing the spring. And I have no idea how to say that, because I feel like I've tried every way that makes sense to say that. It's a little weird that this color is like very much more darkly colored than the rest of the sleeve in that shot and not this one. But I don't think it's relevant. And still, of course, none of this really explains how he got all the blood on the bird statue. But we can't use any of that right now. All we're meant to use is what she's saying versus what we see. The incense smell makes sense because that's supposed to have already happened at the end of the transformation, right? Which is what we say is happening. Well, no, it's as if they've already been purified with incense. We imagine that's happened already.
Owl's on his heels because we're saying he's walking towards her and now enters the springs. We hear water. Water goes away because he stops walking. We still smell the incense because we're right there. The more I look at this, the more I'm confident that they have to be trying to get us to do this lanterns thing, but I don't know where else I could put it. The victim commenced the purification rite by bowing to the lanterns. Is not contradicted by what is seen here. As the transformation rite ended, he lowered the sutra. That's not contradicted by what we've seen here. He rushed the accused and tried to fight her off by the springside lantern. Is again not directly contradicted, but it's where the point of contention is most strongly brought up, which is that Maya is not actually at the spring in this shot, but Lady Kira is in the next shot, and there's no sound of any movement or anything. So we assume Maya's in the same place behind him, but hello, here's Lady Kira. The wind is there because it's what blew the flickering light earlier that we saw. So I assume it's there more for consistency, and the wind does not prove or disprove the springside lantern thing. Unless, I mean, they're not trying to say that these curtains should be windproof, right? Because that doesn't make, they haven't mentioned that yet. They would have said it. I don't know what it means when it twitches like that. I guess it just suddenly got louder and then a bit quieter. Here's Lady Kira, and we don't see like the curtains in the background anymore. But because they're so dim, I assume they're not asking us to point that out. And furthermore, because if we were trying to point out that we're looking at a different place now, the way easier way to prove that would be the lanterns anyway. Like the brain dead, thoughtless, no even need to think about it way to prove that would be the lanterns, not the curtains. So it's not that. I don't know if it's weird that we only smell the incense a moment after we see Lady Kira. I assume that's just because the wind was blowing the other way a moment ago, so it takes a moment for the scent to suddenly start coming this way. We smell the incense more strongly because we're moving towards the robe, or the robe is moving towards us. Nothing seems wrong about that. Is there something we should see about Maya that we don't? The only thing I can think is that she puts on the robe. They don't say she changes any other way, do we? She dons the robe as Lady Kira. The Rite of Water is like about to begin, we think. Except I don't think that, because obviously it's not Maya. In the robe. Maybe if I just take off my headphones and meditate for a few minutes, the answer will just come to me.
I don't know.
I just keep coming back to the only thing that changed since last time. The last thing we revealed was, hey now, there shouldn't be fire flickering with all these things that have wind guards. And they said, well, they didn't actually have wind guards at the time, and we'll zoom and enhance them to show you that. And now we can see that one of them is broken and one of them is not. On the right side both times.
Because if it were anything else, we would have been able to disprove it already, right? It has to be something that they like. It would be a flaw in the game design if the thing you were supposed to prove here you were already able to prove. So it has to be that the change, i.e., now that you can see the lanterns, is what is facilitating that you're being able to solve this. So the lanterns have to be involved, and I've racked my brain the only way I can imagine they're involved. And it has not worked. By the depth of the water that we saw, I think you would be able to tell from here that she's not in the water. It doesn't even let me point that low, though. So I'm ever so confident that that isn't it. Am I supposed to say how can he see Kira so clearly, but not the bird if she's standing in the fountain? But there's no words that say that. Did I miss something where they said that the wind was blowing from west to east? Or something like that? That would prove that the wind we see indicates a direction?
Paratrooper, interesting. So this person has experience from going from high places to low places quickly. Maybe they do want us to say something about the statue, because the statue is closer to the lanterns than it is to Lady Kira in the spring. So you would be able to see it empirically. I've already embarrassed myself enough. What more could go wrong? Let's point to the site behind her. Objection. Well, it's all over. Sorry, Maya. At least we get to die together. For what it's worth, even though you're about to lose your head, it still looks very pretty today. Oh, Springside lanterns don't get affected by the wind. So that went ill pretty quick. I have heard enough. This trial need not be drawn out any longer. The defense has failed to counter the charges filed by the prosecution. In accordance with the law, I invoke the Defense Culpability Act against the defense. Now then, this court finds the accused, Maya Fey, and the defense, Phoenix Wright, pretty damn guilty. I mean, you have to admit it didn't look good for you. Thank you for not showing me the beheading. Well, I mean, I lost my entire health bar on that one, so I guess I'll autoplay it and see where they're going with it. I guess that's... I mean, that's as good a sign as any that I have goofed up and will not get it, right? Autoplay. Take it away. Oh, and this autoplay doesn't auto-solve it for you. I thought that was what it was meant by autoplay, but they're just saying that the text goes forward by itself. I see. Never mind. I thought auto was like it was like a story mode that just solved everything for you. Well, it's good to know I was never in danger of that. I guess I can turn the consultation on. What do you think, Maya? Maya, I can't find any contradictions. Come on, Nick! A bit early to throw in the towel, don't you think? But I didn't notice anything wrong with the sensations that appeared as words just now. Well, then maybe the contradiction is in what Adabet and me saw. I think there's something fishy about the things that we can more clearly see now. You mean the lanterns? No, really? Also, we should focus on not only the sensations, but the updated insights as well. None of them were updated. Not recently, anyway. So that's even more frustrating, because that confirms what I already knew, is that it's the friggin' lanterns. Well, now I don't know which friggin' ones were friggin' updated, frig. The last thing that she changed was, instead of he rushed the accused and tried to fight her off by the broken lantern, it's he rushed the accused and tried to fight her off by the poolside lantern. It does say poolsides. Why does it change to springside? It's just typo, I guess. Was that... What was the one that was changed before that? Actually, the first one that was revised was also... was he rushed to use toward the Broken Lantern, and we revised that same one again to the poolside thing. So that's all that's the only one that's been reviewed. So it has to be I have to put the lanterns with this insight. Just where? Because I already did try showing that this one, while Lady Kira there is not in fact broken. When the one we saw a moment ago was. Oh, right, sorry, I keep messing up because I keep forgetting that they haven't noticed that yet. Hang on, I'm just gonna literally just gonna put it on every lantern because I have no idea what's being got at here.
Objection! Objection!
Did that just work? That's the first thing I did! Damn it, it did